Hello guys, I'm back from another video, and today we're talking about what if Belle was from Terraria. So in the last video we talked about how, after Belle basically, had this little bit of fun with, Lily, after making her a new member of the, Hestia Familia, Belle would decide to bring her to his little area, more specifically the artificial biome, which he created. So after a while talking with her, she would ask what the hell are those powers that he's able to use, like the one that allows him to basically, summon these weird looking portals. After explaining it, she was pretty curious about it. And when Belle asked her, what is her weapon, well, she would show off a pretty horrible looking knife. After seeing it, Belle would decide to give her a new weapon, specifically a spiked chakram. After using it for a while, she would basically master it in a few minutes. So, after going to the, corruption biome, they would basically start fighting against some of the, the floating motherfuckers. I can't really remember the actual name of those things. So, after a while fighting them, Belle would basically tell her that they should get down there, specifically into the hole. After going down it, they would basically go inside of the large hole, and where they're going to be, doing mostly their mission here. Apparently, Belle wants to fight the Eater of Worlds. So, after arriving there and putting down some, white torches, they would basically, arrive at a hole and basically start blowing it up with some, explosions. After blowing some of the, items off, they would cause, a little item to pop out, specifically from that shadow orb. In this case, the shadow orb-like item, specifically the one that allows, the user to have a shadow orb that basically glows around them. So after Belle grabs it, Belle would basically give it to, to Lily, and Lily would be pretty happy about it. So, after a while of using, bombs and things of that sort, they would make it towards the last shadow orb, and after destroying it, the Eater of Worlds would be awoken, as Belle and also, Lily would start to fight it. Both of them would start to get the upper hand, and so they would defeat it. So, after basically defeating the, Eater of Worlds, they would basically start to, leave, but before they can leave, Belle would see the, treasure bag, and after, opening it, he would see a few items, like, for example, the demonite ore, shadow scales, things of that sort, but he would see a worm scarf, which, after giving it to, to Lily, she would see that it somewhat acts like, I can't remember the actual anime, the anime character and the anime it's named after. I think it was, like, something about, like, this kid that gone super overpowered, and he lives in a village that has, like, super overpowered, like, people, by the way, and he's considered as weak compared to them. But when he goes to another country, in this case, the country that he's currently living in now, he's technically the strongest there. So, just imagine one of those characters from there, specifically the one that literally has a literal belt that literally, protects her from all types of attacks. That's basically what it is. So, after, getting used as, basically kind of like a shield, the, worm scarf, they would basically defeat the little creatures, specifically the flying ones, easily. After doing so, they would basically leave and would basically have dinner with, Hestia. After doing that, they would fall asleep. Not before Belle basically asking, Hestia if they can make, or at least get a new house. So, after agreeing with that, they would fall asleep. So yeah, that is basically what happened last episode. And so, let's talk about what happens next. So, as Belle is basically waking up, he would decide to go on another, another round of basically going around, basically doing some missions. So, as Belle and, Lily are basically going around, basically in the dungeon, basically taking care of some mobs, and also some normal-ass monsters, which, by the way, which are pretty much easy to her, because after all, after getting the worm scarf, specifically Lily, she sort of became pretty powerful. Sorry about that. Pretty powerful, just like Belle, which is saying something. So, several members of the guild, specifically some of random adventurers, would basically start to whisper about it. One of them even reported about, how this Lily girl, aka the new member of the Hestia Familia, became became pretty overpowered, which kind of concerns all of them. Specifically, some of the, adventures, which suddenly think, did Hestia give them something or something? Like, how the hell did she get so many, high-level adventures? Where they, did she, start waiting for the perfect adventures and then, boom, she started becoming super powerful or something? All of them would start to think. And for, the other gods, they're thinking, is Hestia smart or something? They would basically start to think, because after seeing Bell basically, Hestia's first ever member, which, by the way, he was super powerful, he was super powerful, in fact, at the time, which kind of caused them to think, did Hestia either just, bribe them, but when they saw Lily, well, they thought, oh god, please don't tell me she's getting stupid. And when they saw that she was also overpowered, well, let's just say, they're not really thinking straight anymore. They're starting to think that Hestia is either smart or just pretty lucky. So, currently with Belle and, Lily, Lily is currently just going around the, the dungeon, basically taking care of some normal-ass mobs, or in this case, monsters, getting some of the monster cores with her, enhanced speed, thanks to the help of Hermes boots, which, Belle gave her, which were pretty much, pretty fast. I mean, not as fast as, per se, actually, what is the fastest character? Actually, she's not as fast as, per se, Bet or, Eyes, but she's pretty, fast. Pretty much fast. So, after a while, basically going around killing some of the monsters, with Bell basically shooting them with his, with his Daedalus Stormbow, which somehow, just like in the game, somehow is able to defy the laws of physics and basically come out of nowhere without, per se, breaking the ceiling or something. So yeah, so after a while basically doing that, Belle would say, hey, Lily, as Lily would say this, oh, yeah, Belle? As Belle would say this, we should probably go now. Hop on. So, as Belle would basically summon the, the pirate ship, which is about the size of a, small, about the size of, a small, what do you actually call it? Yeah, a small bicycle. She would basically jump on it as she would basically start to fly away with Belle. So, after arriving at the entrance, which they, stopped at, nearby so they won't get, spotted by, several ventures, they would basically start to leave and would basically get their pay. So, after a while basically walking around, the city, they would basically, go to the hostess fertility to basically have some fun. So, as both of them are basically eating, basically having a bit of fun, and currently every single member, every single patron in the bar there, or at least in the, in the immediate vicinity of Belle, and also, wait for a second, in the immediate vicinity of, Belle and Lily, let's just say they're basically looking at them, thinking, how the hell did, Hestia get them? Seriously. As one person would basically come up to them. Specifically, a man with... not really a man, more like a woman, actually. So, this woman seems to have blondish hair and golden eyes, as she would say, hey, are you perhaps Belle Cornell, right? As you would say, yeah, what? As you would look over and see the Sword Princess, aka Eyes Wallenstein. As Belle would say this, oh, hello there, Sword Princess. As she would say this, likewise. I want to fight you, she would say, as everybody would just start to, have their, curiosity piqued. As Belle would say this, you want to fight me? As she would say, yes, I want you to fight me. I've been looking forward to fight you for, about a few days, ever since you came here. I mean, you're quite strong. Quite strong, in fact, she would say, as Belle would say this. Guess I'll fight, he would say, as everybody's basically, looking at them, thinking, I wonder who's going to win. So, as Belle is basically outside, basically getting ready with his, wait for a second, sorry about that. So, as everybody's basically, looking outside, they would see, Belle and, Eyes basically now outside right now. basically getting ready to fight, as the Loki Familia members are basically, pumping her up, saying, "You're gonna get beaten, you damn bastard," as, Bet is basically telling him to just, give up, saying that he's too weak. As Belle would say this, "Oh, oh, oh, you ignorant little fool," as he would basically grab out the Zenith, as he would say this, "So, do you want me to use the Zenith or my vampire knives?" As she would say this, "How about both?" she would say, as Belle would say this, "Ooh, arrogance." "Oh, I'm definitely gonna break your pride," he would say to the Sword Princess, as one of them specifically, Bet, would basically run his mouth, basically saying, "Ha! You're actually gonna beat her? What a joke!" As everybody would just hear him, as one of them would say, "Dude, you got defeated by him a few months ago." As he would say, "Oh, shut up, Finn!" As Finn would say this, "Anyway, Eyes, be careful." As, she would say, "Don't worry, I got this." As she would basically grab her sword, as she would say, "This is a sword that's specially made for me by Hephaestus." As he would say this, "Oh, you mean my... Actually, I'm not gonna say it." As everybody would just perk up at that, as one of them would say, what does he mean by that?" As Belle would just say this, "Anyway," as he would basically grab, the Zenith and his vampire knives, as he would say, "Are you ready?" As she would say, "Ready as I'll ever be." And so the fight would begin. As currently with, Loki, which he's currently watching all of this, as Loki is currently afraid, knowing that Belle is going to win. And there's no way that Eyes is going to win either, because, Eyes compared to him is like comparing a god to an ant. And if you don't know that reference, well, you can probably get that from, a certain, Bleach rap. Yeah, I watch those. Don't judge me. So, as currently with Belle and also, Eyes is basically trying to fight him, but she's basically trying to, try and attack him by basically, stabbing him by, by using her, I guess you can say, rapier / sword, or whatever, but she couldn't, as Belle would keep throwing, his vampire knives, causing her to feel a little bit fatigued. In fact, she feels a bit tired, as Belle would basically start using the Zenith, as the Zenith would start slashing at her. Several swords from different styles, like for example, the bronze sword. How is that even an item for the fucking Zenith in the first place? So, as Belle was basically, slashing through her, she would basically start to scream out in pain, as everybody would just think, is she really getting defeated? As, currently with Bet and the other members of the, Loki Familia, they're saying, she's actually being beaten? As Belle was basically saying this, "So, Miss Sword Princess, do you really think that you can actually beat me?" As Belle would basically bring up his sword, as, Belle would say this, "Now, take this." As you would say, "Blade Storm." As several of the swords would basically start rushing towards her, as it creates a little tornado. As it would start slashing through her, as you would say, "Now, Vampire Slash." As you would basically grab two, specific, two little knives, specifically the vampire knives, as you would start slashing through her, similar to, Song Jin-woo, in one of the, I can't remember the actual, battle between him, but I think it was between him and, the snake. Yeah, just imagine that. So, after, a bit of slashing at her, Belle would basically reform the Zenith, as he would grab, his, several vampire knives and put them back in his Babylon, or his Gate of Babylon style portal. After doing that, Eyes would fall to the ground and kneel, as she would say this, "I forfeit. You win." As Belle would say this, "See? Told ya. You can win against me." As everybody's jaw would just basically drop. Even though they're probably thinking in their minds that some of them would think maybe, Eyes would probably lose. And they were right. And some currently, nearby are basically, getting money because, some of them were betting about, who's going to win. And Belle, because he won, well, everybody's getting their money stolen from this one guy, as you would say, "Told ya!" As all of them would say, "Alright, shut up," as he would start laughing in their faces. So, as Belle is basically getting ready to go home, as Eyes would say this, Thank you for the fight. As Belle would say this. Really? I thought you would be angry. Ash would say this. No. I guess you could say it's kind of like a wake-up call. Thank you for the great fight, Mr. Belkernel. As he would say this. Don't mention it or whatever. As he would basically start to leave. So, currently with the rest of the, other members of the Loki Familia, they're certainly impressed seeing this. But that is currently, just fuming, knowing that he, Eyes actually got defeated. So, currently with Belle. So, as Belle is basically going back home, as you would see, a certain, little goddess there, basically just like saying, "Oh, hey Belle," as Belle would say this. "Oh, hey Hestia," as Hestia would say this. "Well, I already got the things that you, requested," as she would basically see all of their stuff, basically now, currently outside of the church. As Belle would say this. Alright, guess I'll start building. As Belle would basically start to stretch his, back and start to stretch a little bit of his body. As, one of them would say yes, specifically Hestia. "Wait, you can build?" As Belle would say this. "Yeah, but I do need materials, so I think I should probably go over there, okay? And don't worry, you can stay over there in that, little, inn over there." As Belle would basically give her some Valis, as she would say, "Thank you, and are you going to be okay?" As Belle would say this. "Really? You're telling me that I'm okay? Trust me, I am going to be okay." As after Belle saying that, Lily and, and Hestia would just say, "Alright, if you say so," and so they would basically start to move their things into the inn, as Belle would basically start to repairs. So, Belle would basically start to crack his fingers, as he would start to grab some items from, wait for a second, from the, Gate of Babylon style portal. So, after getting some wood, and also some stone, and some, some regular old, other stuff, like, for example, some living wood, or more specifically, the, wood wand, which allows him to basically, use it to basically create living wood, which, by the way, just imagine it like this, when he's using the wooden, the, living wood, the living wood wand, god damn it. So, just imagine it just like, Hashirama's, wood style. Just imagine it just like that. So, as Belle is currently making, the new repairs for the church, everybody is basically just, looking at him thinking, "Is that OSHA safe?" As one would think, "I think so." As Belle is currently still fixing the, roof, basically using some shingles, as currently, nearby, some members of the Apollo Familia are watching him, as one of them would say this. "Is that him?" As one of them would say this. "I think so. I never thought to him to be sort of a builder." As one of them would say this. "Yeah, and he's quite powerful. In fact, even defeating the Sword Princess." As one of them would say this. "Do you really think that you can convince him to join us? I mean, it could probably be a bad idea, especially with the whole, As one of them would say this. "They're not dating. I can definitely see how you think that, but they're not. I saw him and for some odd reason, a certain, goddess," as all of them would say, "Wait, a goddess?" As, he would say, "Yeah, apparently it was Hephaestus." Everybody would just sweat drop, as you would think, "Wait, really?" As, well, the guy would just say this. "Yeah, apparently Hephaestus was not a lesbian." As all of them would think, "Damn." As one of them would think, "Wait, then, I lost my chance." He would basically start to cry, said one of them, as, he would say, "Oi, shut up." As he would basically bring back the telescope, as he would start looking at Belle again. Belle is basically going back into the house, which currently the outside seems to be, pretty much intact, and in fact, looks pretty nice. Similar to, if you know the church from, my place, which I'm not going to be telling you the actual name, so I'm just going to be calling it A from now on. So, there's this, little, park place, and right in front of the park, or at least right beside the park, was the church. Or at least the church that I usually go to when I'm, on Sundays, which I rarely go to because I don't really like going to the church all that much. I just don't really like it, mostly because, I'm kind of busy with school now, and I don't want to waste my time right now with, some of that stuff. And also, I'm pretty much stressed about that. Let's just say some problems with that sort of thing. You basically get it. Just imagine it just like that church. Or just like those typical churches that you would see in anime, basically. So, as Belle is basically finishing up the church, he would basically go inside and would start cleaning up the place, even making a little bit more room. So, Belle would start making a furnished kitchen, which, by the way, he used, what do you actually call it? Yeah, he would start to use, smooth marble, which he gotten from a marble biome, which he somehow made. Yeah, don't even ask how he did it. So, as Belle was basically finishing up some touches, he would also make a new bedroom for, Hestia and also for, Lily, as Belle would basically start to, make a basement for them. Mostly for him. So, Belle would make himself a literal man cave. Like, he would make a little pool nearby and also start to make a little, forging area. Which, Vices would definitely appreciate, which Belle is also planning on giving her some gifts. More specifically, some crafting, crafting-based items, like, for example, the crafting table, and also the, blast furnace, those things. So, as Belle is basically finishing up the place, and also, literally making a TV for himself, which, by the way, sort of works. But it only runs, I guess you can say, DVD type things. Like, Belle is able to, watch, old stuff from, his old world. Like, for example, let's just say, Arachnid Boy. A parody of Spider-Man, just imagine like that. He would also, wait for a second. He would also make an armory for himself, basically putting in some random, armors. Including some joke armors, like, for example, the Creeper armor, which was used to be for, a collab for Minecraft with, Terraria, which, by the way, I sort of like. So, after a while finishing up the place, it's been more like 4 months since he started this little project, and so he would be finally done. As currently the other members of, several familias were basically watching him basically fix up the house. Not really, the house, more like, the church. But they didn't see the inside, so thankfully they didn't just godsmack at all the, things that he made. So, after finishing up the place, Belle would say, "Alright, time to tell Hestia about it." Currently with Hestia. Hestia has currently been, staying in the inn, as she was pretty much happy about it. But when she heard a knock at the door, she would look and see Belle. As Belle would say this, "Alright, I'm done." As she would say, "Wait, you actually made..." As Belle would say this, "Yep, let's go inside." And so they would basically, tell the receptionist that they're basically done living here from now on. Done living here. And so they would basically leave getting their stuff. As when they saw the new house, they were gobsmacked at that point. As you would see the, bell tower that used to be for, for the bell, instead is now turned into, some sort of, little tower for them to, basically look out of. Like a balcony, sort of. And it also has a large, area for them, to relax and maybe even have some fun. So, after going inside, Hestia was gobsmacked seeing the brand new kitchen that they sort of made for themselves. As you would also see, their new rooms, which Hestia appreciates, including, Lily. As, Belle would basically show them his, his, little basement, which, when he opened up the trap door, which was made out of, tungsten, as Belle would show off the large room that he created for himself, which had a large, bed, which was about, king size, by the way. He would also have a large TV, which they don't really know how to comprehend this. They would think, what did you make there? As Belle would say this, "Oh, I call it a television. It basically allows me to, watch entertainment while, let me just show you." As Belle would basically, grab a DVD, which he puts it in and would basically start to watch. As all of them basically were watching like a parody of Spider-Man, like Arachnid Boy. And let's just say they're pretty much impressed seeing this. This technology, they were godsmack at that point, as Belle would say this. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you this. As Belle would basically open the door and would see, all of them would see the large forge, which he created for himself, as they would see the magma or the lava that's basically wafting out of there. As she would say, "This place is pretty hot, Belle." As Belle would say this, well, it is a forge, so as Belle would start to create, not really create, more like see a few items being made, mostly, mass-produced, titanium swords. Yeah, that's basically what he's making right now. Wait for a sec. Titanium swords and also some titanium, weapons. Like several other types of weapons made out of titanium, which Belle decides to just give them titanium because, there's no way that he's going to give them, like, high-level armor, like, for example, the armor that is, like, the several armors that are composed of this armor. Like, for example, the, vortex armor, things of that sort. After, showing them that thing, he would also show off his armory, which they were also impressed, seeing several, armors there. As Belle would also explain his whole abilities to Hestia finally, which she was impressed, and not only that, godsmack after hearing this. So she would say, "Wait, so you're able to basically," as Belle would say this, "Yep." As she would say, "Then we don't really need to," as Belle would say this, "Yep, but I prefer to, shop. Besides, I could have seen you just, like, abusing that power." As she would say, "Yeah, I can definitely see why." As she would basically start to scratch the back of her head, as Belle would say this. "Anyway, so, I'm gonna be getting this, this place fully furnished with your stuff, okay?" As after Belle basically, brings in all of their stuff, which some of the people there would see, the glimpse of the inside, which some of them were just like godsmack at that point. And currently with the Apollo Familia members that were watching this, well, they were watching it from the window, which, by the way, they were also godsmacked, and decided to report this, Apollo. So, currently with Belle and Hestia and also Lily, they were basically, putting up all of their stuff, as Belle would basically turn on the AC, which they were sort of weirded out at first, feeling a little bit of coldness basically coming into the room. As Belle would basically explain, as they would think, "That's awesome!" So, after a while basically going around or at least having a bit of a, still have the tour of the whole place, and so they would basically start to, eat dinner. So, Belle would basically grab from his gated Babylon-style portal some, some normal-ass food, like, for example, the stew, which is mostly made out of rabbit this time, and also some other stuff. I'm not going to explain all of it like last time, so just imagine some random food items from, from the game. Like, for example, a banana split or french fries or other things of that example. So, after eating all of them, they would basically start to get ready to go to sleep. So, Hestia would go to her room, and Lily would go to her specific room. Belle would also go to his room, which is in the basement, and so all of them would fall to sleep. So, currently with the Apollo Familia, after Apollo heard this, he would think, "Yes, he is perfect. I will surely get him into my side. After all, no one is going to ever, and I mean ever, going to refuse my offer. After all, I am one of the strongest members of our, the strongest, Familia currently here. Or at least one of," he would say with a sadistic smile. As Apollo would say this, "Alright guys, I want you to prepare for, a little meeting with the Hestia Familia. And please try not to provoke Mr. Belcornell, because I want to have a good relation with him." Good, as everybody would start to agree. Except for one. Specifically, Hyacinthus. He was pissed after hearing about this Belcornell basically stealing all of his spotlight, and so would want to get revenge. So, as currently with the other members of the other Familias, they were also spying Which, currently, with the Loki Familia, after hearing about this, they were pretty much, angered knowing that, Belle has been taken away by, Miss Hestia over there. And currently with Aphysis Familia, which she mostly, thinks that is pretty cool. And after hearing about her, her Belle, aka, Belle himself, that he literally has his own forge, well, she wants to see the forge for herself, and really wants to try some of the, armors that she, heard that Belle made, including the mass-produced armor, which she was wondering about. And so, we're gonna be ending this episode right off here. So, yeah. So, I hope you liked the video, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!